of the podcast.
This is a sin-free podcast.
Much
Okay.
like in the movie where sin is punishment in and of itself.
That's awesome. That's so sick, dude.
It's like
Okay.
I'm sure Jeffrey Epstein was like feeling really bad.
Yeah, he's like, you know what? This is
with those
good enough.
kids.
Feeling bad is good enough.
Feeling bad about what you're doing is good enough.
I do love
Yeah.
the whole, like, there are no consequences for any wrongdoing. It's just, like, you just gotta kind of move on.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what Christianity is. If you like subscribe to the faith and are active in the community or the church or whatever, like that is it. That's you get into heaven.
You're not even
Just no
allowed to
matter
be
what.
mad. You're not even allowed to, like, be pissed.
No, you're not.
So, okay, one other thing, though, like, about that, this movie, like, wasn't, and I don't think the book was either. I mean, it was with a lot, but there were, like, a lot of, like, Christian scholars and, like, some semi-prominent, like, leaders who actually said it was, like heresy.
Yeah.
What
Um,
was the
But,
shack?
like, yeah, because...
The way you like they represented the Trinity being three separate people and having a big part of it was God being a black woman was another big thing of it.
Yeah, which I think is like not an issue, but I think where like a lot of it also came from, what I was reading was like the idea of Christian universalism. Do you guys know what that means?
No.
So it's like the idea that the pastors were mad that this book kind of suggests that everyone gets into heaven, right? Like everyone is automatically forgiven because like mainstream Christianity teaches that you don't automatically get in, you have to like repent and like actively pursue or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
So that was interesting because I always thought it was like a pretty like well-regarded Christian novel, and I think it is for a lot of people.
It's when the bar is so like
Fantasy.
low in like theology based like fiction.
Narnia is good.
That book
I like
about
Life
the
of
kid,
Pi.
that
Life
book,
of Pi.
that book about the kid who met God during a surgery is pretty good.
Heaven
What?
is for real.
What?
Heaven is for real. Oh my God, Quinn.
They
Yeah,
made a
I
movie
don't-
about that.
Yeah, they did.
They did. I saw it.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait to watch Unplanned personally.
Ooh.
Yeah.
All right, going back to that. Okay, I wanted to talk more about that. The like, what was the part when he goes into the cave and speaks with that one woman? What's her
Wisdom.
name again?
Wisdom.
Wisdom. I just like the part when he's like forced to like determine like which kid he's supposed to send to hell.
Which is like, it's like the total like false dilemma. Like that's not how like God works, right? You don't just like
Right.
pick a kid to go to
Ah,
hell. You
man.
base it off like their like life.
and she's just like,
their
and
choices
she's just
in their
like, well,
lifetime.
you can't. Yeah, and
Like
she's
God doesn't just like
you
arbitrarily
can't
send people to
decide.
hell.
Yeah, that's
I
not
think
how it
the
works.
point with that. Well, I think the point with that sequence was more like how like everyone is God's kid, even like the murderer. You know?
But it's so dumb because like
No, it
Yeah,
is
but-
dumb. It's like very
should still
stupid.
punish
And
your
like, doesn't
children.
God have a
Yeah,
plan? Doesn't God have a
wrong.
plan for everyone? So like every person
No,
that goes
God
to hell, that's-
God punishes people. Like that is like I don't know. I went to a Catholic school and it was raised like Catholic, not super hard or anything, but like that's
what are
like
you
the
talking about? You're the most Catholic person I know.
you know me, dude. I always love praying.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do say God a lot. But yeah, just like the thing with Catholicism is that it's like you get punished and like then it's kind of it. You know what I mean? Like you deal with consequences and stuff, and like God, like you have like free will, and if you like quote unquote choose to sin, like you get punished. That's like the thing. Like I don't know, it just makes sense that like God is like very human. I don't know. That
There's
just that's just what Catholicism does. Christianity is very like New Testament. It's a lot about forgiveness,
yeah.
which like is fine. I guess I don't know.
I think there's merits to like obviously like to forgiveness as an idea, right? Because like you'll be a happier person if you're
Yeah,
not
yeah.
like harboring ill will. But like I also don't believe that everything is forgivable because that's childish.
Well, here's in like one of our theology class. One of, we learned there's a difference between forgiveness and like just moving on and not letting stuff burden you. Like it's impossible to forgive everything, but like you can move on and like become a better person for it, like get rid of that ill will. Which
Yeah.
it's weird that like instead of going with the like like I am over this type thing, like quote unquote over it, like I'm over this, I can move on from this, I've built off this, but they decide to like I forgive you. Like no you don't. You don't forgive your father for beating you. You might be
And
able to
like you don't
understand it better.
have to either.
Well, that's the thing. You shouldn't have to. I don't think that's like. I don't
Like
know.
you shouldn't have to forgive the murderer of your daughter and your abusive father.
You should be able to move on from it. I don't think you should necessarily have to forgive them or be expected to forgive them.
Yeah,
And
like
you won't
you
even
can
be able to
hate those
completely move on.
people.
Like that's impossible to completely forgive that because it's like a part of your life now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I think that's a total ridiculous
And
expectation.
I don't
that
know,
this
not
movie
to like
presents.
beat the dead horse, but that's like Christianity is built on forgiveness, and that is like I don't know, just it seems very weird to me because not like they acknowledge all the Bible, but they put a lot of emphasis on the New Testament. So it's just like very weird to be like, no, God is forgiving, but going back like to the beginning of the book, like he has done like vengeful, wrathful, and like hard lessons, hard love type stuff,
Yeah. And I think that's where this movie kind of like just fails, and like maybe why it fails. Like maybe it's I think the author is kind of like a dumbass and like not smart enough to be like handling the ideas he wants to. But I also think like a lot of people are, and that's probably just because like there's so many like contradictions, right? Like most obvious being Old Testament versus New Testament like characterizations of God.
Very
Uh-huh.
different, which is weird. But like, I don't know. Like, I would love to like take a theology class and learn more about that, but like, I don't know.
I think the biggest like annoying thing this movie brings up for me is like you know how he asks her like everything I'm gonna do anyways, right? So like why are we even
Yeah,
talking?
yeah.
But then later they like make it seem like she has this super hard choice on like who to send to hell, but it's like you already talked about how like she designed everything. So
It's
like
it's all based on design and
so it's
like
like if you're so pissed about it, why'd you design it that way, huh? Big
Well, there's
question.
like the classic like very like philosophy 101 idea of like if God exists, like God's like meant to be like what omnipotent, omniscient, and
omnipotent, all seeing,
omnipower, and
and just like the like
what's
how
the
they say
third
I
one?
am.
Oh, and like benevolent.
You know how
So
like they
like
just say I am. That's what it is. Like God is just supposed to be I am. Like
right.
God just is.
But you have these like three like conceits, like all knowing, all powerful, and all good. But like if evil exists in the world, one of those can't be true, and then God like doesn't exist, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And like this movie totally like there are ways out of around that logic, right? Like everything is like has weaknesses, but this movie like can't get itself out of that logic
And
because
it tries
doesn't
to
know.
too.
Yeah,
Well, that's the thing. They really do try to address that like line of logic, and then they're like fail at doing that, and then it's like, well, we're here now, I guess.
They kind of do like the like why would God do this to me, and then oh damn, he's got a tough job, and then that's
Well,
it.
no, it's almost like they're doing improv,
Well,
and they're
that's
not
what they
thinking
did.
more than 5 seconds ahead of the script. So
That's
they're
what
just
they
doing
did,
it.
like in the cave, though. Like in the cave, that was like the whole point of him, like supposed to like judging his children was it was supposed to like demonstrate how hard of a job God has
that's-
or whatever.
But
And it
that's
was like
insanely
he's
flawed.
not right for the. It's like you can't do God's job, so who are you to judge God for murdering? Like basically
allowing yeah.
Well, here's the
allowing
thing.
your
It's like,
child.
you should be happy.
I'm
that
not a
you're
plumber.
child.
I'm not a plumber. But if my pipes burst out of my out of my sink, I can identify if the plumber's not doing a great job.
Yeah.
So that's
a great point, I think, actually.
No,
Like,
Lucas,
that
you-
line of
no.
logic is completely flawed.
Lucas, that shit on your walls might lead to something better down the line. Who are you to judge? The plumber,
Yeah,
maybe
this
the plumber
black-
had
How
a
do you
plan
know
for
that your
you all
pipes are
along.
really broken? What
this
if the
black
pipes
mold
were
you're
meant
inhaling
to
from
shoot
all
water?
the leaking water actually is going to help you go in for a cancer screening. So thank the plumber for destroying your lungs.
Yeah.
actually, your kitchen flooding is forced you to take a bath for the first time in like a week.
As a gamer, that is a very real concept I'm faced with on a daily basis. Do I shower or do I game an extra